Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. Now, we have our mission still yet in progress with our fleet of vehicles that we've sent to Minmus to start constructing our first base. And so what I'm working with here is our crane lander. So we've got the big crane module that we're going to be using to try to pick up and move some of our heavier base pieces, and we're just getting into the correct orbit to set up that landing. And then switch it over to radial so that we push it in the right direction. That'll be fine. That's coming down a little high and a little fast. We've got the fuel to deal with that, but there's no reason to make this more complicated than it needs to be. So let's kill some more of the velocity. There, that should put us directly on target. And a little bit up. And look at that, now I've screwed it up. Oops. There we go. That'll give us a little more wiggle room to actually land on target. So let's F5 for safety. Oh, don't forget, we are targeting Minty Station. Alright, so let's turn a little bit so that we are pointed in the right direction here. So we should be able to eyeball it such that we're at least headed towards our target. Oh, this was a silly design for this. Oh, I remember now what I did with the little twitches on the side. Oh, this was a terrible idea. Alright, so let's see what happens. We're coming in. Coming in a bit fast. So this thing doesn't have to land directly on our target, but close would be nice. So we don't have to drive all that far. Alright, we are killing that velocity, so let's push ourselves, oops, the other way, towards our target. Swing this thing around. Yeah, because we are pushing off in a weird direction. Overshooting it slightly. I think it is loaded into physics range too. Alright, so now we should be landing at least close. So let's swing this thing around again. And get this thing prepared for landing. Well, I wish it was coming down a little bit closer. So let's just point up-ish, and then up-ish being a technical term. There we go. I think we're looking good now. So let's go ahead and kill our horizontal velocity. And there we go. That's pretty close to 0. Close enough for our efforts anyways. Activate engine, shut down engine. Activate engine. Oh boy. Yeah, that is not as balanced as I want it to be. But with the reaction wheels, I think we're going to be able to make this work. Maybe. Oh, man. No, we're seesawing gently through the air. Or through the airless vicinity of this minty moon. Oh, come on. Oh. Ooh. Well. Just decouple at this point, I guess. And that does it. I said that does it. I've got the brakes on, but it doesn't seem to matter. Beautiful, though. I mean, as beautiful as a landing like that with that goofy of a descent module could be. But it worked. We've got this crane here on the surface of Minmus. That's awesome. That is awesome. Cool. So let's fill... Well, that's F5, for goodness sake. Then, let's go ahead and fill this thing up with ballast. There. That'll give it a little bit extra mass so that it can hopefully hold its position as it's doing its work. Now, I've got to be a little bit paying attention to the electric charge on this thing. This thing has some pretty heavy batteries, but it's mostly dependent on its power from this microwave power transceiver, which I have a matched pair on the big heavy power distribution unit that I'm sending over. So until that gets here, I may not be able to do too much heavy lifting, but we will have to see about that. Looks like I am at least netting positive electric charge when I'm not moving, so that's something. Alright, we are rolling up. This thing is not flipping out at all. I'm very happy about that. Cool. Alright, we're in range and already getting a tiny bit laggy. That's not a great sign, but hopefully as I connect everything and get this whole set of bases pieced together, it will reduce that little jitter that we're seeing here. Alright, well, we'll play with this in a bit. We have some more pieces to land. Alright, so before I move on, I actually want to go back and take a look at some of the footage I took of testing out this crane. It's real goofy and doesn't work very well on Minmus, but here you see that I'm having trouble with the action groups. I thought I had set up an action group to deploy these stabilizers, but as it turns out it doesn't matter all that much because it wiggles vigorously every time you start... every time I put it up on those, so I don't actually use those for all that long. So this is just, like I mentioned, just a lot of me kind of fiddling around with the crane and finding out how this is going to work when I'm actually doing the assembly of the base. And over the course of this, I will say that I do get better, but at first I end up throwing these pods into the air just a whole bunch. And you guys, I don't think, need to see me fail over and over, at least not at real-time speed. So yeah, that's it's an interesting thing. I think what I figure out eventually is there's another piece that I'm missing here, and that is there's like a magnet target that you can attach to something, and then it will kind of lock onto that particular target. And then this happens. Yeah, so I end up reloading that. Anyways, so there's this magnet target that you can get as a piece that you can attach, and that'll actually help guide the connection, because what's happening here is the magnet is drawing this part from its center of mass. So it's pulling it from the middle, and that means it doesn't necessarily stop pushing as soon as the edge touches it. Things like that end up happening where it just keeps pushing straight up and just bowls the whole thing over. So as you can see, I had a little bit of trouble, a little bit of a learning curve here, a little bit of learning pain as I was getting this set up, but slowly but surely we are getting there. We are figuring out how to pick things up safely, how to get them moved around, because you see that's progress, at least, right? Where I've actually got it attached and not flipping me up into the air. But yeah, so it's a little bit fiddly, and I think part of it is that I'm on Minmus and gravity is just so low, and so I also don't have a lot of ballast on my crane here, so I'm lifting modules that are roughly the same weight as the crane itself, or at least the crane is not heavier enough than the modules to not get pushed around. So I think we've kind of demonstrated a little bit of learning here into how we are going to be moving stuff around. So let us move swiftly along to our next launch and stick the landing. All right, here we go. All right, so here is the next thing that we are going to put down, and that is our horizontal modules. So we're gonna see how this one works as far as getting this down. This one, yeah, not super confident in my ability to get this down in a reasonable way, but we're gonna figure this out, I think. So let's see how this goes. Once again, we are just pushing our inclination up so that we are flying directly over the site that we are attempting to land at. There we go. That's almost there. As you can see, I'm just kind of lining up both sides of this orbit so I get a clear picture of at least one axis of where this orbit lies, so that I get a better idea of how we're doing as far as getting this to be close to the landing site. Alright, now we're gonna push radially in to bring my orbit down. Whoa. Oh, that's right, this is hilariously unbalanced. Oh man, this is gonna be so dicey. Alright, wow, that got way off course. It's as if I was just blowing my engine and not even really thinking about how unbalanced this thing was. It does not appear to be getting better. It actually appears to be getting worse as I'm draining the fuel from this thing, which is not great. There we go. Now we're just going to want to burn straight up a bit to fix our orbit just a touch. Whoa. We're flipping around a little bit here. There we go. Give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. Alrighty. Let's F5 for safety and see what the heck happens here. And we're coming down, coming down. All right. So we're coming straight over this little ridge here, it looks like. So we're gonna want to push ourselves. Looks like we are not exactly on course. So let's just blow the engines a little bit, see if we can't get ourselves a little bit closer to on target here. Oh man, I am really quite concerned about this landing safely. Alright, it says this is going to take about 14 seconds for us to cancel all of the velocity that we have, that we still have. We have plenty of fuel, so I'm not worried about that. So we got to take it easy, take it slow. So let's start about 1/3 throttle and 3 times as far away. Come on, push down. Oh goodness. Let's go. Oh, the SAS is not doing a great job of holding this, because I think I have the possibility to actually hold this if I just really push hard on the gimbal and the... Whoa, what the heck was that? If I really push hard on the gimbal and the RCS, I can get this pointed in the right direction and kind of holding, but it doesn't like to stay in that orientation for very long. Alright, well, we missed pretty badly, but that's fine. Let's just continue canceling our... Whoa, oh gosh, it's flipping around now. Let's continue pushing in that direction. So let's try to get back a little bit more gently. Oh, goodness gracious. How are we doing? Alright. Alright. Yeah, that's how we roll. That's how we roll. Alright, we're gonna need to point up a little bit. Push. Push. Oh, we're flying away. Here, let's point ourselves retrograde again. Getting closer. Still don't quite want to land here, so let's turn towards our destination and point ourselves a little bit up from our retrograde vector in the hopes, oh dear, that we'll be able to, come on, push, in the hopes that we will be able to cancel that velocity and fly over there. Oops, turn off the stability assist pointing me in that direction, because that's not actually helpful at this point. Alright, here we go. We're getting there. We still got a little bit of fuel left. Plenty of RCS. Let's see if we can... I don't know if this is actually helping in any meaningful way. It feels like it should, and that's what matters, right? Okay. Let's push it up now. So we can just kind of straight hover over, because we're getting close. I can see the base! I can see the base and all the little components. I have no idea how I'm going to finish this little descent, but... there we go. Looks like this is, in fact, reducing my horizontal velocity, at least a little. So if I do that... that is actually reducing my horizontal velocity. Beautiful. So, here we go. Looks like we're getting there. A little bit closer. Alright, very slowly now. Whoops. We're going to want to turn. Okay, turn. Oops, slow it down, slow it down. And here we are. We have landed. And it's just kind of... Well, let's see what we can do as far as rotating this. I think it's up and down are my keys for doing that. I wonder if I can just spin this thing. What's happening? Oh, I turned off my monoprop. That's the issue. This way. So if we just rotate on the axis a little bit, because I want to get this end pointed kind of towards the rest of the base was the idea that I had for this thing. Push your nose up a little tiny bit. There we go. Look at that. This thing just kind of wiggles around on its own. This is amazing. Yeah, perfect. And I was thinking the way that we were going to have this work is when we finally get everything else kind of ready and set up, the way that we can do this is... oh, and I can lift off with RCS. Perfect. I can maneuver like this. This is great. So anyways, the idea that I had is that once I'm in a good position, what we can do is use the crane to kind of just pick up the nose a little bit, because this is going to have to rest down. Making my way over. Oops, don't roll. Please don't roll. Goodness gracious. Okay. There, let's rotate some more, please. There we go. There. All right. So there's that. So we're going to hold off on knocking off all this stuff until we're ready to actually start assembly, but we are in really good shape so far. That was the hardest thing to get down. At least what I assume is going to be the hardest thing to get down. I have no idea. But that was the hardest thing so far for sure. We only have one more piece up in orbit. It's our narrowband scanner, but this is our colony box. So let's bring it down. Let's finish this thing off, shall we? All right, here's our colony box, and it is directly overhead, actually, and I don't have the fuel to just push down in a super inefficient way, so we are going to fly about. There we go. And exactly opposite, we are going to move ourselves to retrograde on the retrograde velocity vector in orbit, and slow ourselves down to put the oops, I am not controlling from the right spot again. I could tell because this thing was not moving in the way I expected it to. The nav ball, that is. See, look at that, and you're tricksy. So point this at the retrograde velocity vector, bring the orbit just above the surface. It's the most surface. Unfortunately, it looks like we are entering the Minmus night. So this will be, that's going to be my level of challenge for this particular landing, is that it's going to be nighttime. But I think this thing has a lot of control, and I think it should have enough fuel to get down. So I'm not super worried about it. A little bit worried about it. Here, let's just line up our orbit. There we are. And let's bring it in. I guess the real important part is having signal when I get down there. It looks like the narrowband scanner is going to be overhead, so I think that should be what I need as far as getting signal. All right, we are coming close to the base. Minty Station, let's activate our navigation. Turn ourselves towards orbital retrograde once again, so we can start slowing down, as we are reaching it in 1 minute. And I'm just going to have to take their word for it, because I cannot see a thing. Let's put down our landing legs nice and ahead of time so I don't forget in the darkness. Can these actually be retracted? Yes. Let's do that just in case. All right. We are getting close now. All right, let's start that burn. And bring it on down to the base. Minty Station, here we come. Alright, just a 4-second burn to cancel out what velocity I have left. Very, very nice. Getting a little bit of lag as we enter into the physics range of all my other pieces. We are about 1.5 kilometers away, so it looks like we're doing pretty well as far as coming down on this thing. And I realize now I should very much have gotten lights, because we cannot see a thing. There we go. How are we doing? I cannot see anything. This is not great. way is this got me pointing here? Let's impact in 20 seconds. Here, let's cancel out this velocity, and then can I rotate? Because I want to head towards the base. Gosh darn it. Towards the base. Towards the base. There. Now we're moving towards the base, gosh darn it. So we'll flip around. We have 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7. Let's slow it down now. And push ourselves. Oops. Turn off stability assist. You're not helping. Warg. Okay. So we're just going to push ourselves straight up and basically do that same kind of hover action that we did with the previous vessel. There we go. Now we're moving in the right direction, gosh darn it. Beautiful. Okay, so we'll whip around. This does not need to be in any particular position or orientation. This just needs to be close. And I think within 200 meters is the key for the scavenging logistics method, which is what this is going to be using. All right, we are just above the surface according to my readings. 40 meters. Canceled most of our horizontal velocity. 30 meters. Holding steady, 20 meters. Touchdown in 3, 2, 1. And touchdown. Beautiful. That went perfect. Love it. Love it. All right, so let's extend our solar panels. Not that, you know, they're going to get much use out of them at this point, but... and there we go. We've got all of our pieces. Let's wait till the next day, and then we can start building. Very exciting. And looks like our Kerbals and the Min-Miss Hopper are going to be just fine until such time as we can get this base constructed. But unfortunately, how time flies, it looks like we are out of time for this episode, so we will get to the actual construction next time. I'll see you in the next episode.